Hi everyone and welcome back to Ben's Kitchen, where today I'm making banana bread muffins. I know I've already made banana bread, but these are different. They have a crumb topping. And so obviously you can use really ripe bananas like these, but I actually like to take it a step further and I like to bake them at a low temperature. So these are at 250, and basically we're gonna bake these until they are all black on the peels. So while the bananas are baking, I'm going to prep the dry ingredients. So for this double batch, it's 3 cups of flour, all-purpose flour, and then 2 teaspoons of both baking powder and baking soda. Yeah, not really much more goes into that. These are the leavening agents. So yeah, just 2 teaspoons of each, and then it'll be 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, which I have here. Yeah, and then I'm just going to mix this all together, and it won't look very much different than this. Now I've whisked this together, and I almost forgot, but this is diverges from the recipe, but I also like to add in, for a double recipe, about a half a teaspoon to a full teaspoon of cinnamon. I just really like how this goes with the bananas. You can leave it out if you want, but it's not an overpowering flavor. It's just kind of a warming element in it. So yeah, that's about it for this. Next, I'll just make the wet ingredients besides the bananas, which is melted butter, sugar, and eggs. And so now I'm going to be adding in the rest of the wet ingredients. And so in here, in this bowl, I have 2/3 of a cup of melted butter. You can actually use brown butter instead of just normal melted butter if you want. But for the sake of simplicity and accessibility, I decided to go with normal butter. And then to that, I'm adding 1.5 cups of brown sugar. The recipe calls for white sugar, but I think brown sugar is better, so I use that. It also makes for a moister, I know people hate that word, but a moister muffin. And so I thought, why not? And the flavor of the brown sugar goes really well with the bananas. You'll see most recipes use brown sugar. So yeah, not much more to that. And then also into this mixture will go 2 eggs. And so that will be good. And again, you can half this recipe at home if you want, just using 3 bananas and such. And the eggs are over here. And so just going to add those right in. There we go. Nice and nice. And yeah, I'm just going to stir this up with the whisk. So in here I have the ingredients for the crumbs. So it's 1 cup of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of softened butter, 6 tablespoons of flour, and about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. And so basically this goes on the muffins, and so I'm just gonna cut it all together. And while I'm doing this, you may have noticed these beautiful jars and the cool measuring cup. I got those at IKEA. Trying to be more sustainable, and so basically, yeah, it's great. You can go buy things in bulk this way. I love them, and also my aunt got me the scoop for the flour. I don't know if you can see it. It's really beautiful. She got it for me for Christmas. It's made in Salem, Oregon. So thanks, Aunt Bethan. So yeah, I'll just show you what this looks like. Basically, you just cut it with a fork or a pastry cutter if you have it, until it all kind of comes together and forms a crumb. Okay, so the crumb is all done, and as you can see, it actually just kind of looks like brown sugar, and that's exactly what you want. It's okay to have big pieces and small pieces in here. It's great. And also this recipe makes about 24 muffins, and you may be saying, Ben, that's so much crumb topping for 24 muffins. And you would be wrong, because there's not too much crumb topping ever. And if you have extra, you can just eat it, because it's delicious. It's sugar, butter, and flour. Or bake it and then eat it. I don't know, make a pie. Who knows? But anyways, I found that just doubling the recipe for the crumb topping tends to leave me a little short, and so I like to triple it. The bananas are done. They've been in there for about a half an hour. And as you can see, they're like shiny and black, and some liquid has leached off. That's okay, we'll just drain that off. And now I'm just gonna let these cool basically until I can handle them, and I'm gonna mash them into the wet mixture with the butter and the sugar and stuff that I did earlier. So yeah, and then I'll make the batter and fill up these nice little tins here. Fun fact, I got these at the Dollar Tree. 6 things, so you get a dozen for just $2. It's a great price. Also, another note on the muffins, you can make them vegan by using earth balanced butter instead of normal butter, or you can also use oil. And also, you can just leave out the eggs. Shai did it one time on accident, and they turned out fine. So I'm guessing you can just do that. Now I added the 6 bananas that were baked into here. Again, you can use just super ripe bananas, but I like this. It adds an extra depth of flavor that I really think makes these even better. And I think other people agree. So basically just mash these up as best as you can. You don't want super big chunks, but you also don't have to be like that thorough. You just don't want super big chunks. And then I'm gonna add the dry ingredients that I mixed together earlier on top of this because, or actually the opposite. I'm gonna add this on top of the dry ingredients so that I don't accidentally like fluff flour and stuff into the air. So now I'm gonna pour this all over. Made a little bit of mess, that's okay. And now I'm gonna switch to a rubber spatula, a spatular. And so there we go. It smells so freaking good. And now I'm just gonna mix this until I don't really see any flour, but I don't want to over mix it because if I over mix it, I can start developing gluten, which will make for gummy and tough muffins, and you really don't want that. You just want kind of light and airy or dense muffins. But again, gluten will not give you a dense muffin. It'll give you a tough muffin. I'm a tough muffin, but I don't want these to be tough muffins, if you know what I mean. Anyways, sorry for that bad pun. So basically, I'm gonna say that is almost looking good. Just want to make sure I get all the flour on the bottom. And just do it like this, nicey nice. And there you have it. So that's what it should look like. It's kind of chunky. That's okay. It doesn't actually, like, when you eat banana stuff like this, it doesn't really get chunky. I don't know how. So now I'm going to fill the muffin tins. And so the muffin tins will be filled 2/3 of the way to the top. And then I'm going to put on the crumb topping. And also by this time, you should preheat the oven to 375. All right, so now I'm going to fill the muffin tin. It's the same as a cupcake tin. And I have these muffin liners. People like to give them to me as gifts, so I have a lot of them, and I just thought I might use them. And if you don't have these, that's totally fine. Just make sure you butter the tin or pan it or whatever, or else it'll stick. And so I just like to use a like a 1/4 cup thing, and that's usually about enough. A little less is good. And I just fill it with that. And so, bop, bop, bop. Nicey, nicey, nice. You can also use like a disher if you want, like an ice cream disher. That's totally fine. That makes it a little more consistent. But this is fine for me. So here we go. And last one. Needs a little more in this one. And a little more in this one. And so just gonna shake those around, make sure they're kind of even. It doesn't really matter. And then I like to put on the crumb topping, and I just like really just like put it all over the top so you can't even really see the batter anymore. And this is what I mean. If you don't have that much of this crumb topping, then you like really have to ration it, and then you don't get the full coverage, which I really enjoy. Now I've covered all of them in the crumb, and I like to point out I used all of the crumb topping. It was not too much. And also when you do the crumb, make sure you just like kind of pat it into the dough so that it doesn't just fall off when these bake. And so now the oven is preheated to 375, and these are gonna bake for about 18 to 20 minutes. So in they go. And I'm just gonna do it like this. Very nice. Leave a little bit of space in between them if you can. It's not that imperative. And so yeah, a way to know when these are done is if you do a toothpick or a knife or something in it, it has to come out clean, and then they're done. So yeah, I'll show you when these come out of the oven. All right, so I think they're ready to come out. And so here we are. Look at those. Aren't those beautiful? So yeah, these now just have to cool. I already checked them with the toothpick, and so they're great. And so you just have to cool just for a little bit. But yeah, there you have it. These are some beautiful banana muffins, and I'll show you what they look like up close. But I mean, come on, look at those. Look at that. That is just beautiful. Look at that coloring. Okay, yeah, so these were a definite success. So they're fully cooled now, and as you can see, here's a cross section. It's very beautiful, nice crumb topping. It's nice and light. It's not too dense. It's not gummy because we didn't add in too much gluten from over mixing it. And so, yeah, here we are. And these are all the muffins. I really hope you make these. They're incredibly amazing. I've already eaten a few, as you can see. And so, yeah, thanks for watching this episode of Ben's Kitchen, and happy baking.